All right, so this is either part 2 or we're going right into it. So let's do it. So we just tied the brush head that you guys saw in the largemouth fly fishing video. So there is the brush head deceiver. Look at that guy right there. Nice wiggle. New MFC little teardrop on there gives it that, ooh, good old wiggle. But now we're going to do the skull head one. So the skull head ones are just a little bit different. It has a fish skull head on it. I'm so sorry to break all of your hearts, but Fish Skull actually, or Flyman Co. discontinued it. So you should write them a strongly worded letter because I had to buy $700 worth of them on their closeout sale when I found out they were going out. So had to buy a lot of them. I have a box under my desk that's about this big of them because it's a lot of what I fish personally and a lot of what I fish with clients. So we're going to get into it and write them a strongly worded letter because I'd love to see them back in stock. So get into it. We are just starting it off again. All right, so to get into it, we're going to start it off again with the Fish Skull Next Generation Shanks in the size 10. This is going to be a all white one. And I'm going to go over a little few things that are different between the skull head and the brush head that I do differently. So I don't care about thread color, never have, never will, other than being hot pink or purple on a fly, but I'm going to stick with black. It's what's in my hand. I'm not too worried about it. So we're going to cover that all up. And the big thing between the brush head and the skull head is the brush head, you want it to go boom, boom, and ball up and fly away, right? You want it to do all those motions. I got to start looking at this camera more. But you want it to do all those motions. When you're doing the skull head goes boom, 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 boom when you're stripping, right? So we don't need it to be super light and super flary, right? All right, so first what we're going to do is we're going to grab our white saddle. You can use Chinese strung saddle hackle, Chinese strung schloppen, it doesn't matter. But when you are picking your feathers, you just want to make sure it kind of looks like this guy, those guys right here. Not so thick and bulky like those guys. Those are kind of what I would call like musky tail feathers, not so much trout or bass tail feathers. But same thing as we did last time. This fly we are going to tie a little bit smaller because it's a white little bait fish pattern I like. It's more in the 5 to 6 inch range. But it's still 2 hooks, so the tail is just going to be a little bit smaller. So that's about a 2-inch tail right there, I'd say. And with this one, because we're not trying to get all the jumpy movement out of it, I actually care a lot less that how it looks and how it sits on the shank. It doesn't really matter when you're doing the skull head because the skull head is a jig kind of platform. It's got a bunch of weight up in the head. It's going to bounce around. So these can be uneven, match, don't matter. The reason why it matters with the other one is because you're looking for that dart, right? So now we're going to go in here and we're going to find ourselves a kind of a schloppeny style feather. Right there on the top of the hide is usually where you find them. We are going to palmer that back like that or splay that back, whatever you want to call it. Give that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool. Give it a snip. Snip. Wrap that forward. And we're going to advance the thread all the way up like I didn't do. So ignore that, and we are going to bring that all the way forward. But we're actually going to try leaving some, which I don't think is going to happen. Nope. Sometimes if you get a longer schloppen feather, you can kind of use it in 2s because this back one doesn't need to be as long as the first hook one does. So make sure those are all kind of splayed out like I want them to be. This is getting a little wrapped in my thread being frayed a little bit. So we're going to back it up. Push it out a little bit more. Come on, get out of there. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Lock it down. Doesn't matter. This one rarely comes undone, in my personal opinion. Bunch of wraps. Push forward, push forward, push forward. 1, 2, 3. Cinch. 1, 2, 3. Cinch. 1, 2, 3. Cinch. Click. Give it a snip. Alright, so then we are going to the B10S size 2s. And we're going to open that up a little bit, crimp that down, cut ourselves that 30-pound Berkeley big game. Put it in your mouth, chew on it because it's a force of habit. Wrap mid-shank all the way back. Send that to the barber. Or as Russ would put it, send it to the army. Because Russ has got all the awesome quotes for fly tying that I wish I was smart enough to think of. And wrap that in, fold that over, give it a pinch, and wrap it back. Same process, guys. Nothing special. Go all the way up to where you're going to start your slopping. Collar, give it 1 wrap, 2 wraps down. Grab your little cutters. Snip, done. There we go. Same exact polar chenille that we're going to use here, or cactus chenille, palmer chenille, whatever you guys want to use. It does not matter. And when I say it doesn't matter, it does not matter. Every single one of my flies, I think, has a different chenille on it. It's not going to make a difference. I like it short. When I do my chenilles, I never like them to go kind of past my hook. Is my only rule. So like if you see right here, I never want the polar chenille past that because it could wrap up in it, get it all jammed up in a ball. So just always leave it shorter than that hook point in that barb. So wrap that in. Get it to the head. Whoop, fold it around. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoop, 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 whoop. Go NASCAR quick. Snip. We're done. There we go. Wrap that down. And then you're going to grab another one of your slopping feathers, which I don't think I have any smaller ones in here, and I don't want to waste one. So we're going to go to the Chinese strung stuff, which is just as good. It does not matter. And we are going to splay that out. Wrap it in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can kind of see I have inconsistencies to how many wraps I do. It does not matter on these big streamers. And there we go. We're going to palmer that all the way forward. Like so. And 1, 2, 3. Go around. Wrap down 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to go around and back. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. And snip. All this is going to get covered up with bucktail and stuff like that, so it doesn't have to look super pretty. We are not tying for production. We are tying to catch fish. 1, 2, 3. Next on the list is the B10S size 1s. Once we got that, get that guy, throw it in the vise. Now this does matter. We got to worry about spacing here because we're going to put a skull head on this. So we are going to start about pinky nail width back, and that's just my pinky nail. I don't know what that dimension is lengthwise. There we go. And we're good. And we're going to grab one of these new MFC beads because they're cool. This time we're going to go with gold. That's what I'm feeling today. And then we're going to grab our Berkeley. Make it longer. Yes, this is overkill for the amount I need, but it is nice to just have stuff to work with. Nice little eye there at the very end. 1, 2, 3. Check it. Does it wiggle? It wiggles, but its eye is a little big still. Cinch that down a little bit more. There we go. And we set it in. And then now we have to watch it. That's why I like to do my thread where I do it, because that's the furthest basic point of the skull head that will fit on. Don't use your nice scissors like I almost grabbed. Give it a snip, fold, wrap, 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 wrap. And give it a snippy snip. And wrap, wrap, wrap. Alrighty. There we go. So now we go back to our cactus chenille, palmer chenille, polar chenille. I'm going to say them all because it does not matter. Use them all. And we are going to tie that in. 1, 2, 3. Go forward. Stop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Spin it, wrap it. This doesn't matter that much. Give it a snip. I like to flare it back a little bit and get it locked in. And now we can tie up to the eye of the hook, make a little thread dam by that eye. And now you have that gap there, right? So now we got to judge the right amount of white. So we're going to go in here and we're going to find a nice chunk of white. I feel like that might be enough right there. Clip that really down low. But we'll see once we kind of empty it full of we de-fluff it, right? So after we de-fluff it, we kind of stare at it, look at those tips are long, bring those back down. Those tips are long, bring them back down. That looks good to me. We're actually going to do this one a little bit different. So we're going to measure that up. Then I like to 1, 2, loose wrap. And I'm going to work this all the way around. I'll add a third wrap there because it started to slip. And there we go. And now I kind of sit here and mess with it and give it a good pinch down. Now it's kind of all over, right? That looks super messy and blotchy, but you'll see why I do that in a second. Give that a little bit of a cut there so I can see in. I go 1, 2, 3, spin it back around, give it 1 up top. Now we have to really trim this up because there's one more step we got to add here. We want all those blunt ends out of there. My personal opinion is when I see flies, if they have blunt ends still in there, they're not pretty looking, but does it matter? Absolutely not. So then we're going to wrap a few more times. We're going to kind of wedge that back a little bit. Get a few more blunt ends in there. Oh, grabbing a nice piece. All right, that looks good. Now, grab our peacock feather. We are going to grab some shorter ones so I don't waste these long ones I have. We're going to go up to the top here. These are shorter ones up by the eye of the peacock. And we are going to grab 3 of them. You got to be super delicate. You can kind of peel down on stems of peacock. Oh, I pulled way more out, but it's fine. We'll roll with it. And measure that up. Make sure they're all the same length. And we're going to go right on top here to start. We're just going to match the length of our bucktail, wrap that in a few times, and then I'm actually going to do something that most people will be like, oh my God, you do that? And give it a snip. Fold it back over. Doesn't matter. I don't care. It does not matter. It looks dumb, but it doesn't. So then we're going to wrap all that down really nice and tight. There we go. Get all that concealed up. There we go. We got a nice top feather on that like that. Then we're going to go into my trusty drawer real quick. And we are going to grab ourselves the small medium in the gold. And we are going to first size this up, but there is a right and wrong way to do this. So see that flat part on the underbelly right there? We're flipping around and then it's on top. You need the thicker part on the bottom because if you don't, it's upside down. So just remember that. You always want that thicker part right there that finger's on under your fly because you want your weight under. If it's over, it will flip your fly upside down. So then we're going to jam this on there. And it looks like I did it right. That looks absolutely perfect. So we're going to go up to the eye of the hook. We're going to do only 1, 2, 3. Cinch down. Snip. Good to go. Then we are going to grab our Loctite, the gel control. We are going to put a dab right on, oh, let me get it to come out, right on top, right on the bottom, little dab on the side, little dab on the side. And we are going to take our skull head, make sure that weight is on the bottom, push that in, make sure it sits nice and pretty, let it cure, and there you guys go. So those are the two deceivers that we used in that bass fishing video. This is the one I fished in the deeper water in the 300 grain. This is the one that I fished in the shallower water on the Type 3 Scientific Anglers. So I really hope you guys enjoyed. We're going to have another one coming out going over the frog that I tied. It's a very new style frog, in my opinion. Does some weird stuff, got some weird wraps. I like the way it looks. I like the way it fishes. It sits lower in the water because it's a little bit heavier. So hope you guys enjoyed. If you got any questions, leave them in the comments. I'm happy to answer all the questions. Or if you're like, hey, can you go slower and really work through how to do that? I did this kind of fast. I'll make another video going slower and doing the process step by step. I just feel like a lot of people, this is a very basic fly. This fly's been out for a while, but I just want to kind of show the little differences that I do with these guys. So thank you guys so much for watching. This camera, goodbye. This camera, thank you so much, guys. Have a great rest of your evening, and get out there and go fishing. I don't know. Go do something. Go fly fishing. Go gear fishing. I don't care. Go catch a fish. See you guys.